G'day guys, the question we're dealing with today is, do you need money to make money? Now, of course, this is a conversation. We want to get people's feedback. We want to get people's thoughts. So as we go through this conversation, please feel free to comment under the video. Like if you like it, love if you love it. If you don't like it, click the angry button. And let's have this be the spirited conversation that's actually generated my wanting to actually do a Facebook Live video about this today. So basically there was a spirited conversation that was had on our Facebook page amongst a whole bunch of people about whether, some people are like, man, you can't make money if you haven't got any. You need money to make money. And then there were other people that had a different point of view. So I thought what we'd do is we'd do the Facebook Live today and we discuss this particular topic, right? So let me go through it and hopefully this provides some value and some insight and gives you an opportunity to make a difference in your own personal situation. So do you need money to make money? Well, what kind of money are we talking about? So there's a couple of different types of money that I actually want to touch on. Look, the first money that we want to talk about is income, okay? So now, do you need money to make this kind of money? Absolutely not. And in fact, this is where most people start off. This is where I personally started off. I didn't have any money to get my started on the way to investing. And look, really, this is what most everyday Australians do. They exchange their time and their labour for dollars and cents. So there's a value that you have, whether it's as simple as a physical value and being able to move stuff around a storeroom, or whether it's, the intellectual, the talent, the interpersonal skills that you've got. Those skills, those attributes, those abilities have a value, and people are willing to exchange you in dollars and cents for that. That's what we call employment, okay? So for most people, that's where you start off. Now, the key about this kind of money, though, income, and look, this is primarily what we're focused on as a society. We're so addicted to income. We're so conditioned into being people that work for money. We think, and I know that this is what I thought when I first, left school and went and got a job, is that the way to get some kind of financial security or financial freedom was to get a job, work your guts out, get promoted relatively quickly, climb the ladder. Eventually you're going to be on some higher level of income, and that would be your ticket, or would certainly be the plan in terms of finding financial security. But I'm sure many of you have already figured out that having a job, generating an income is never ever going to provide you with any kind of financial security. Now, I know for many people they think, all right, well that's fine, I'm going to go and start a business. Okay, so one of the key things that you've got to know about business, though, is a business is not an asset. Okay, and I know that might fly in the face of what a lot of people think, but it is absolutely not, and never has and never will be an asset. And here's my evidence for saying so. Try and get a bank to loan you money against your business. Okay. Now, I know some people think, oh yeah, but there's business loans out there. You can borrow money for a business. Yeah, you can borrow money for a business, but a bank will never lend you money against a business. If you want to get a business loan, they're going to ask you about what collateral you've got. Like, tell us about your house. How much do you work? What's your house worth? What do you owe on your house? The house is the asset. Okay. See, and the reason for this is that a business is exactly like a job, except for one thing. You got to work about 10 times harder. Okay, see, a business generates the same outcome as what a job does, and that is an income. Okay, now an income will week to week provide you with your life. Okay, it might pay for your house or your rent, your car, your clothes, your going out to the movies or something along those lines. And while it's going to give you a lifestyle, while it'll give you some nice stuff and some nice things, it's never ever going to provide you with any kind of freedom or security. Okay, the only freedom or security that you're ever going to find is by going after the other type of money, and that's assets. Okay, assets are very, very different to income. Okay, so now let's just bring this back to the conversation a little bit. So, do you need money to make money? No, you don't need money to make money. You can go and generate an income without any money. Okay, now as you start to generate the income, the idea behind that is that what you should be doing is you should be paying yourself first. You should be putting money aside every single week, and it's one of the single best habits that you'll ever learn in your entire life. If you can actually get into the habit of paying yourself first before you spend any money on your bills, before you go and buy a beer or buy a coffee, you should be putting a certain amount of money that you can afford to pay yourself first every single week away, using a structure so you don't have to rely on your self-discipline or your willpower, and it should be going into an account that you can't touch, an account that you don't have an ATM card for, an account that's not on your internet banking profile, because with smartphones now it's just way too easy to access. Once that money has been being put aside, this is the fuel that you're going to use to run your asset building engine. Okay, and that, look, in terms of, do you need money to build an asset base? Yeah, I guess the answer is yes. Now, what sort of money? Does it necessarily need to be big money? Absolutely not. okay, you can be paying yourself first every single week, put together some savings. Now, savings is a form of asset, okay? It's not a very good asset, doesn't produce a lot of return. A lot of bank accounts nowadays pay very minimal interest, even if you're in a high interest savings account. There are some better options, like you can get into ETFs or exchange traded funds. A great way to do that is by using an app by the name of Acorns, very popular and growing here in Australia. It's a very similar way to saving, and it's a really good structure to pay yourself first, and that money, rather than going into a high interest account or a bank account, is going into an exchange traded fund, which is typically going to produce you a much higher level of growth. I mean, kind of growth that I've been getting in my Acorns account is about 9% over the last year, so that's much better than 1 or less than 1% in a savings account. Okay, but that's just the start. From there, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to purchase larger assets, and that's where we can start to talk about things like shares and property and managed funds and superannuation. Now, of course, people typically, when they're working and putting money into superannuation, say you're building an asset there, but typically that asset is not an asset that you can touch until you're probably, 60 at the moment. By the time you and I get to retirement age, it's probably going to be 65, 70, 75, maybe even 80. Okay, so while that's a good asset, it's not an asset that's going to give you any lifestyle in the meantime. Okay, things like property and shares, what's better for you to go down the path of? Look, they're both great. You should be investing in both, but where do you start? That's going to depend on everyone's individual circumstances, and that's one of the big things that people learn by working with us as a company and coming along to the events that we run. Okay, a lot of people might go into property because property does provide them with leverage. Okay, i.e., if you want to buy a $500,000 house, do you need $500,000? Well, no, the answer is no. You can use a deposit, get a loan from a bank. If you want to buy $500,000 worth of shares, how much money do you need? You need $500,000. Okay, so that's why a lot of the time people will be looking at something like property investment, but don't just be a property investor. That's a flawed investment strategy. You need to be diversifying into all forms of assets, right? You never, ever, ever put all your eggs in one basket, and you shouldn't do the same thing with when it comes to investing, okay? So in terms of answering the question, bringing this all back, do you need money to make money? No. You got yourself, right? You could exchange your, excuse my laptop keep on going off. You could exchange your time and your labour for dollars and cents to generate your money. Okay, you should be putting some of that money aside because you will need money to start buying assets. Okay, whether that be savings, whether it be shares, whether it be superannuation, whether it be something like investment property. So in some respects you're right, in other respects you're not at all. Okay, so that's my point of view in terms of that conversation that you guys have been having this week. All right, so I hope that's helpful, guys. I hope that gives you a bit of insight. Look, if you're someone who's committed to, having financial security and financial freedom in your life, you've got to get along to one of our workshops. We have, just very, very high satisfaction ratings. We've had over 14,000 people come to our workshops. The satisfaction rating is well in excess of 90%, right? So you're not going to be disappointed if you come along. You're going to learn a lot, and that's stuff that you can take away and implement in your own life without ever having to do anything with Infinite Wealth. After that, of course, we're really committed that you want to become a client but do business with us, but if you don't, that's fine too, okay? Guys, that's pretty much all I've got for today. Hope you've had a great week. Hope you've got a great week coming up, or great weekend coming up. If you've got further questions, please put them down in the comment bar. If you've got other things that you want me to discuss in a Facebook Live, more than happy to do that. So, put that down in the comment bar as well. And let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep lifting the financial intelligence of this nation. All right, guys, have a great day. Look forward to speaking to you soon.